I've got four final questions as we round the bases. I'll throw one at one at the other. We'll see where it goes. I'm going to start with this one, Paige. I briefly mentioned it before. Kid from Salina ending up in Hawaii sounds about as good as it gets. I know you were going where you're going for the coaches and the programs and all that. Oh, by the way, you got to play softball and go to college in Hawaii. Last night at the College Baseball Hall of Fame, before this recording, Ron Darling, a Hawaii native, was honored. There's always a little something different about Hawaii. I've actually never been there. I'm embarrassed to admit that, but we'll get there for a vacation at some point. But, we've got an assistant hitting coach with the Royals from Hawaii. I've covered some of those Hawaiian players. They're wired a little bit differently, right? It's just there's a different vibe. There's a different feel. It's a different culture. What was playing college ball in Hawaii like for you?
It was one of the, if not the most pivotal experiences of my life. It's not only was it for education, but I learned so much more off the field and out of the classroom than I ever thought possible. Learning from a beautiful culture of people with that are very prideful of the culture and the community that they've built there. But I was welcomed with open arms, being kind of placed into a team and a community already. And so I feel very, very fortunate for that experience. And I think that I manifested it in some way because my parents tell me that I used to say when I was 5 and 6 years old that I wanted to go play softball in tropical islands. And so I think that there's a powerful message in that as well, that you put in the work and you manifest what you want to do, and you respect the game, and it's going to repay you in ways that you could never imagine. And I'm eternally grateful for the people and the experiences that I had when I was there, because it was incomparable to anything else.
Well, and anybody that's listening now, or parents that are listening, the kids probably won't be, but any of the parents that are listening that have kids that might want to go off and are looking for that college dream, that's it. That's the college dream right there. It doesn't have to happen in Hawaii. The fact that it did, I think, even better. All right, second question as we round the bases, and then I've got another softball-related one on the third one for Paige. But Jeremy, for you, baseball, softball, all of this, I mean, starting as a solopreneur and where things are at right now, you do have to trust, rely on, delegate. That's a process. I know that, where over time you start saying, look, I can't do all this myself. And not only can I not do it all myself, I can't sit there over someone's shoulder every single step of the way to it. It's not productive. What have you learned over the years that have enabled you now at this point in your life to be involved in so much and yet still hopefully keep somewhat sane?
Yeah, I think there's amongst a lot of us leaders, we say we're really not that important. At the end of the day, we might have had a vision, we had an idea, but the talent that you surround yourself with is really what creates your organization. And we have a very empowerment culture here at Top Gun, where you take it and run with it. Ideas, creative. Really, we're one team. I don't ever. You'll see, I don't ever sign my stuff very rarely as owner or CEO or president. It's just like those titles mean nothing. We all have a mission, and honestly, I mean, what we get to do matters, right? I know everybody has a different mission, but literally, we get to inspire and positively impact student athletes. I mean, that gets me out of bed every single day. So there's a why behind that. There's a purpose behind that, and to get to surround myself with ex-players like Paige and so many others that we got in the organization that played this game. This is their game, right? And we're just fortunate enough to come alongside with that journey. So for me, it was a true evolution. But once I begin to do it and realize that the results are so much greater, and I sleep better at night, and I see more of my kids and my wife, like it's the secret sauce. So
I wish we all could learn that when we were younger. It takes time. I don't know a whole lot of entrepreneurs in their 20s that have figured that out. Some have, in the same way that, big league baseball players, pro softball players, you learn as you go, and you start to figure these things out. What bothered you before doesn't bother you now. It enables you then to focus on the things you need to focus on. All right, third question as we round the bases. I got to go back to softball here, Paige, because I love doing this with elite level athletes. I like to get a little bit of a scouting report. I know that your playing days are they over? I mean, he's still playing anything?
No. I'm all done. I'm washed up now.
You could get out there, I'm sure, and hit some bombs still if you wanted to. I would imagine. I would love a scouting report. I want the pitcher and you to give a scouting report on the hitter, the hitting version of you, and then the hitter to give a scouting report on the pitcher. If you had to face yourself, what's the scouting report?
Oh man. Well, as a pitcher, I can honestly say that I was only ever as good as my catcher made me look. So I think that my scouting report would have to come more from looking at the catcher. But man, I think that I prided myself as a pitcher on my composure throughout the game. And so I think that would be probably the most intimidating factor. So I think as a hitter, the game plan would be to try to get in that girl's head because she doesn't show any emotion, and I mean in a negative way anyways. And I would be, all the little tips and tricks as a hitter to try to get inside their skin a little bit would be my first plan of action. But as a pitcher towards the hitter, I was a two-way player, so I know my weakness now, but I would have been throwing up and out all day to me as a hitter. I would have been chasing all day long. So I think that was probably fairly easy to catch on to. So
I love the humility, by the way, and I'm sorry to challenge you with that one, but I thought it'd be fun.
That's
But
okay.
I also love, like, Jeremy, I'm just listening. I don't know Paige, obviously, like you do, but I hear so much old school that I hear from a lot of our veterans. The pitcher. I always hear from veteran pitchers after a game when they talk to the media is that if it went great, it was always, we called this, we did that. And when it went poorly, it was I threw a bad pitch, or I did that. It's always we for the good and I for the bad. And that's what I'm hearing from Paige. There's just that old school accountability, which I love.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we are better together is one of our core values. And so, we win together, we lose together. And Paige is a great representation of that from the time I met her.
I love it. All right, here's my walk-off. This is an easy one. We'll let both of you chime in on this in terms of Top Gun events. Paige, I'll start with you. Jeremy, I'll give you the final word. I'm just mixing it up. I don't know that it really matters, but what are you most excited about going forward here? I mean, here we are, baseball, softball season starting. The weather will break. Everything's gonna, for the most, we'll get bad weather at some point too in April, and because it's Kansas City. But what are you most excited about for this summer, Paige?
Looking forward this summer, the most I'm excited about is just the impact that we're going to be able to make for hopefully a large amount of girls. We've got a lot of cool things, a lot of exciting things going on and in the works. And so I'm absolutely ecstatic about the impact that we're going to make.
Jeremy?
Yeah. Today I looked at the lineup of college softball games that are on ESPN, Joel, and to think back 5 years ago, that didn't exist. I mean, there's more top 25 matchups in college softball today than there is in college baseball. There's more games being televised on ESPN, ESPNU, ESPN Plus than there is college baseball. Not to take anything away from the game of college baseball, it's great, but just to see how far we've come. And I think, as we talked about the small things, is the opportunities that exist for our organization to keep introducing new things here to our region, to these players, to these athletes, where that's going to go. I feel like we're in an educational season right now, because I think there's a lot of education has to be done with analytics and where we're going and the metrics and the evaluations and the video. But I think that's what excites me, because you get to see coaches light up when you realize, oh, this is what the impact that can have, right? And so for so long, Joel, it's everything on these clubs has been franchised. So it's all about the jersey that you wear on the front. And so these college coaches, that's how they would pick which club am I going to go to? And now these clubs have 96, 100, 120. I mean, just like they do in baseball. Well, now we get the opportunity to go to the Paige Crawfords in Salina, Kansas, and give her that same opportunity because she played for the Salina Geckos or whatever it might have been back then. That's what I'm excited about, is being able to introduce that to everybody.
Well, I can't congratulate the two of you and everyone over there enough. Always excited, obviously, for this time of year, and that goes beyond Kauffman Stadium and big league stadiums as well. And so just excited for you guys. Congrats on all the amazing work. For people that want to learn more, just go to topgunevents.com. It'll be in our show notes. Jeremy McDowell returning here on the podcast in much better times, by the way, as well. And Paige Crawford. Guys, have a great summer. Thanks so much for spending time on Rounding the Bases.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.